Hey, all you beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about otosclerosis and presbycusis, like I promised with my last video. So these two are also hearing loss related pathologies. So I just want to jog your memory to begin with. You know that we had the tympanic membrane here, the malleus, the incus, and the stapes with the stapes footplate, and then we have the cochlea, right? And this is just to have a better depiction. I'm going to show you that this is high frequency and this is low frequency, right? And I'm going to draw the same thing on this side, so just so we have a good visual representation of what I'm talking about. I'm just going to color this so you know it's like a part of the stapes, right? And this is my cochlea. Let's go back, get the pink. Yeah. So what is otosclerosis? Otosclerosis means that the foot plate of the stapes just becomes really like bony and sclerosed. It just becomes very like stout and wonky, and it presses upon the oval window in that manner, right? So this is considered a type of conductive hearing loss, and this is a type of sensory neural hearing loss, right? Now, what happens with otosclerosis is that, I mean, you are already seeing that the pathology is within the conductive portion of the hearing apparatus, so you know that this is a conductive hearing loss. And you also know that for conductive hearing loss, bone conduction is better than air conduction. You can refer to my video on the hearing apparatus and Weber's and Rennie's test to clarify that point if you are in any way confused regarding that. So that's what makes this a conductive hearing loss. So in a typical vignette for osteosclerosis, you're going to see that the patient will say that they can actually hear better in noisy environments compared to their baseline. So this is because whenever they're in a noisy environment, the foot plate of the stapes, it sort of vibrates more forcefully, and it sort of overcomes this problem of otosclerosis on its own. So they're going to hear better. They're going to hear high frequency sounds a lot better than they can hear low frequency. So this is typically considered a low frequency hearing loss, right? Now, how do we compare that? How does that compare to presbycusis? So what happens in presbycusis is that this is a type of sensory neural hearing loss that is mostly seen in older adults, right? And what happens here is that you have the hair cells, the inner and the outer hair cells. They're on the basilar membrane. There's a textorial membrane against which these hair cells, they move and brush up against it, and that's what creates the sound, which is then transmitted by a cranial nerve 8, the cochlear branch of the vestibular cochlear nerve. Now, what happens with presbycusis is that these hair cells, they degenerate from years of use. They just become like weaker and just like, normal aging phenomenon, and that's what causes presbycusis. So the pathology here is limited to the sensory neural portion of the hearing apparatus. So this is going to be sensory neural hearing loss, and like we've discussed before, it's going to have air conduction, which is going to be better than bone conduction. And these patients are going to say that their hearing is worse in noisy environments, right? I mean, in general, both of them are going to complain of hearing loss, and more so with presbycusis because like all the hair cells are getting affected. And you can also think of it in this sense because like you already know that the high frequency is the high frequency sounds are um, concentrated at the base of the cochlea, which is here, and this is the first point of contact between the stapes and the cochlea. So just imagine that, like years and years of like, that pressing up against these hair cells over here, these are the ones that are going to be mostly damaged and they're going to have high frequency hearing loss, right? So to sum it up, just to put it simply, so that if at all they gave you a vignette relating to in case they ask you to differentiate between otosclerosis and presbycusis, there's no way you're going to get this wrong because these people are going to have low frequency hearing loss and these people are going to have high frequency hearing loss. These people are going to hear better in noisy environments and these people are going to hear worse in noisy environments because the hair cells that transmit the higher frequencies are damaged. And again, because this is just a classic conductive versus sensorineural hearing loss thing, the air conduction is going to be better than bone conduction for presbycusis because it's sensorineural, and bone conduction is going to be better than air conduction for otosclerosis because it is conductive hearing loss. I hope that this was helpful to you all. I know that it can feel a little bit confusing, especially with like Rinne's and Weber's and then conductive and sensorineural and all those things. Don't get too flustered. It's very simple. You just have to understand the concept, think analytically, and you're through. It doesn't have to be this hard. If you have any questions regarding this topic, make sure to put it in the comment section and I will respond to it whenever I have time. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that this was informative and helped clear up your questions regarding regarding the differentiation between otosclerosis and presbycusis. Thank you so much for tuning in and I will see you soon.